Hey guys, welcome to Cosmic Road. How you doing? All right. Yeah, we've got a lot to talk about. We've got the DoD report. The unclassified version of the DoD report has just been released. And it is interesting, I guess. So we can talk about that and a lot more. I've got StreamYards now. So I can share a screen, and I actually wanted to share a couple of things if I can figure out how to do it. I've never done StreamYards before on my own channel, so this will be a learning process. I kind of wanted to experiment with that. But yeah, have you guys had a chance to check out the DoD, the unclassified version of the DoD report? Talk. Yeah, yeah. All right. Hey, Keeper, how's it going? Hey, Rick. Hey, Tim. Hey, Tim, how's it going? All right. Yeah. All right. We got a good group. We got Leonid, Leviathan, yeah, let me know who else is in here. Leviathan Rise. All right, love it, love it. Yeah, so the DoD report got released, and it is, basically trying to incorporate existing procedures into UAP, and they had a list of recommendations to various agencies like the Air Force, and with various levels of comply. You have Ronald Moultrie saying, now that we've got Arrow, all those reporting procedures over the past can be put to bed. Arrow is going to take care of everything, and you've got the Air Force basically ignoring them and doing their thing. I don't know what the point of any of this is. The DoD report talks about Arrow all the time. Arrow is the hub of everything. And so, what's the point? What's the point? We can't trust Arrow. We can't. Obviously, the lovely Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick cannot be trusted. Who's going to replace him? Is it going to be somebody that we can trust? Is it going to be Carl Nell? Do you think that we could get somebody that's actually pro disclosure and admits that what David Grush said is true? Do you think we could get somebody like that as the director? Could that actually conceivably happen? Yeah, we're gonna have new hearings. We're gonna have new field hearings at the very least. Hopefully, we'll get new hearings within Congress itself, but we are going to get new hearings. Anna Polina Luna and Tim Burchett were talking about that, and that's going to be amazing. They got some names. They have some names of some people now. It seems like that's what seems to be what they're indicating from the David Grush material, actual names of participants in some of these programs, and they are going to go into these field hearings. So where will that be? Will that be in Tim's backyard? We don't know where that's going to be yet. Let me know your thoughts on where the field hearings are going to be. I mean, hell, I would love a barbecue in Tim's backyard with a field hearing. I would go to that. I would totally go to that. Tim says the mantis beings are joining us later. Elizondo, Nick Pope is a liar. Really? Jury's still out of Nick Pope. Elizondo, Lou is true, guys. Lou is true. Now, does that mean that he tells us everything that he knows? No, of course not. Does he have secrets? Yes, absolutely. As Lou himself has hinted many times. Yeah, I mean, he's just flat out said it. The truth whispers. So that means that Lou is not able to be as forthcoming as he would like to be. And so he has to sneak in little nuggets here and there. As I was telling John yesterday, John Stewart, in a conversation, Lou Elizondo is like Jesus. He speaks in parables because he can't talk about the truth. He'll say things like, what if we found a 747 in King Tut's tomb? Clearly indicating, UFOs or some sort of exotic technology found in archaeological sites. So, that's as good as we can get from Lou, as tied up as he is. Please televise the hearings. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Oak Ridge Labs. The field hearings will be at Oak Ridge Labs. That's hilarious, Leviathan. Lou isn't fighting for disclosure. I would argue that we wouldn't be where we are today without Lou. In fact, I don't think it's hard. I think it's impossible to say we wouldn't. Yeah, we wouldn't be where we are today without Lou. if Lou hadn't come out of the closet and brought those 3 videos out to the public, with the help of Chris Mellon and TTSA and all those guys, wouldn't have started this grassroots movement that it reached fruition in the creation of the UAP task force and the Schumer Rounds Amendment and Arrow and our public state of affairs right now. So no, Lou is the man. Without Lou, we wouldn't have had David Grush. So Lou is true, but I mean, Lou's hands are tied, and he can only say so much. Um, yeah, who says there's crypto terrestrials? I would love it if there was some outspoken person talking about crypto terrestrials. The disinfo campaign against the Mexican and Peruvian proponents of the alien bodies and little buddies is going to be really hard to overcome. Yeah, unfortunately, they are really going after the mummies, calling them dolls and actually showing dolls very deliberately that were clearly not the Nazca mummies. But hey, we're going to get a new mummy. Oh, thank you, W. Decker. I appreciate that. That's awesome. Yeah, but we're going to get bodies. We're going to get a new body at least. I think it's going to be the gray alien, the Nazca mummy that was teased to us the other day. So by that official guy. So I think that's what we're going to get. But Jaime Maussan is also teasing us with the unveiling of the giant bodies. And, it's going to be hard to say those are dolls. I mean, it's easy to say the little ones are dolls because that's where our mind goes because they're little bitty figurines. Clearly, that's going to be the first thing we think of as dolls. And, it doesn't help that they don't articulate very well. But, from various encounters with gray aliens, they also don't articulate very well. When they're walking around, they seem to prefer to float or fly or levitate. Whether that's some supernatural ability or technology, probably technology. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Ian. I appreciate that. That's awesome. Yeah. Kill Dragon says, I'm tired. All this carrot in front of the donkey BS. Yeah. Yeah. It's a lot of Lucy in the football. It really is. It really is. But it seems like we're getting a little football. We're getting a little pigskin with every month that goes by. We get, a new nugget here and there. Really feels like we're working towards something big and fast. The disinfo being put out is so weak. Hey, Lex, how's it going? Comment on new Newsweek debunking article quoting Kirkpatrick that future IAP reports will be decreased. IAP, remind me what that is. I don't know if I've read that Newsweek article, although I have seen a few that extensively quote Kirkpatrick and seem like they are, taking his side in all of this. And I don't think that's helpful. Whenever I see an article that extensively quotes Kirkpatrick, I tend to ignore it. So I may have missed that one. But there's some stuff going on in Peru. Let's see if I can share my screen. Okay, because I'm doing StreamYards now in an effort to share my screen, or an effort to do that. So let me see if I can figure that out. Stop screen. No, I don't want to stop my screen. I want to share the screen. No, yeah. Okay, slides, extra camera, video file. Maybe I go over here. Is that how I do that? Okay, and then there we go. That's what I'm seeing. Okay, so now I'm just sharing the screen. All right. So there was a new witness in the Peru attacks. Let me know. Can you see that? Can you see that? Because I'm not able to see anything. Can you see what I'm seeing right now? You seeing that? Are you seeing this witness right here? Okay. Is it not letting me? Okay. Yeah. Okay. So we have a new witness. Okay. All right. We have a new attack in Peru, and this is just posted. I don't know when this attack actually occurred, but he actually this boy talks about actually communication with the beings. So let me just it's subtitled, so bear with me. But listen to what he has to say. speaks to him. Translation is terrible. Yeah, I'm skipping ahead. All right, but yeah, let's see. There were two, and let me get to the part in case you missed it. There are noises. Yeah, it speaks to him. It speaks to him. What? And it told him they were going to come back. So some being, I'm not entirely sure if it's the same being, the face peelers, or if this is some other type of being. But it's possible that this is one of the face peelers talking to him. If so, it definitely seems to be inhuman. But it's also possible this is some other type of being that is coming to this location, maybe gravitating toward these attacks to help or to assist. We don't know. But what do you think about that crazy testimony of the boy who was attacked by a being? And then, yeah, it's terrifying, Christian. Absolutely. Um, who was rude? No sound. Oh, no sound on video. Okay, maybe it doesn't share the. Yeah, let's see. Read the subs that he was attacked by aliens. Yeah, he was attacked by aliens. Can't hear. Yeah, I'm sorry. Sorry you couldn't hear. I guess StreamYards isn't sharing the audio of that. But you can hear me, right? Yes, thumbs up if you can still hear me. Thumbs up. Everybody can hear me. Just making sure. Rude. Yeah, I missed the rude part. Every story from the past about beings that weren't human are bad. No, it's not. There's lots of good examples of lots of positive examples that people have had. Let's see. Okay. Very good. You can hear me, but for some reason, StreamYards doesn't share the audio from when I do a share. So if you guys know how to do that, let me know because I'm new to StreamYards. Yeah, the video, there was a boy describing an attack, and there's actually some follow up to that. Police came to investigate the incident and were puzzled by the case. And I'm not going to play it because you won't be able to hear it. But it talks about people, basically seeing this take place. Is this a picture? Let's see what Peru Attack says. I still can't get over this. An alien told a boy they are coming back to his village while it was levitating in his bedroom. This non human warned him something was about to happen soon. Uh, Typical vagary from the phenomenon. Is that supposed to be a being? I'm not quite sure. Let's see. Based off the testimony of this boy and his whole family, I don't believe this is the Pelicaris, and not all encounters are murderous. He said he picked him up with one arm while it was levitating and then dropped him suddenly. This was a 7-foot being hovering silently. Large hands, holes in its face, weird vocalization, UFO in the sky, agile and silent, incredible strength and speed, and also, most important, it cannot be a jetpack because they are loud, and not a hoverboard either because he could see the being's legs dangling. That's what Peru Attack says. The boy is only 17. The photo above in blue is the photos he took just before he went to bed of a UFO. He just remembers going to bed, then waking up to this strange being. The boy also said the being looked like a pencil, very thin. The message to the boy is weird as if it makes no sense. Why tell them if it wasn't important? It makes me think maybe it is a warning that Native people that something bad is about to take place. What that is, I don't know. All it said is at some point it's going to come back. That's creepy, guys. That's creepy. One of the beings saying they are going to come back. Jeez, yeah, I don't want a crazy being in my bedroom telling me it's going to come back. Screw that noise. Uh, Guillaume says, "Come on, every generation thinks it is the end of the world. The Crusades were about the end of the world 1,000 years ago." Yeah, okay. Christian says, "I was just reading a book. The sheriff is investigating cattle mutilation. A man in a black suit comes and the case is closed. Sheriff complains and the guy in the suit takes him on a drive." Okay, yeah. The men in black suits shutting down a cattle investigation rings true to me because that's happened to me. Our local MUFON chapter was investigating a string of cattle mutilations in our area, the Madison County cattle mutilations, and that was shut down by the FBI. Well, I love seeing the endless drinking coffee. I see the window on the window. Maybe I need to stop that. But yeah, let me see. There's some other stuff south of the border. Very exciting. Check this out. Mexican TV crew to film autopsy on three-fingered mummies to prove they're aliens. What? A team of independent experts are determined to prove on camera whether the infamous set of three-fingered Peruvian mummies are alien life forms for a new TV documentary. There's going to be an autopsy on the mummies, guys. That's crazy. A team of independent experts is preparing to prove whether the infamous three-fingered Peruvian mummies are alien life forms for a new TV documentary. Producer Serena DC has expressed her frustration that all previous investigations into these bodies have been conducted behind closed doors. She says it's now time for the world to know the truth. Yeah, bring it. That's awesome. I mean, I kind of hate to do that though. Part of me, they're going to have to destroy one of these bodies basically to do an autopsy on it. I hate to see any of these bodies destroyed, especially, Western science is still going to just shrug at it, if Gary Nolan were doing the autopsy, it might be different. But Peruvian or Mexican doctors doing this autopsy is not going to galvanize, mainstream Western science and medicine, like it would be if we're a mainstream science or Western person doing that. Sadly, and the UFO disclosure basically has happened, and it's the Nazca mummies, and nobody's paying attention to it. So maybe this will get some more eyes on it. But they are going to have to sacrifice one of these beings, the remains, to do this autopsy. And I guess there's 20 or so bodies. They've already, probably destroyed one or two of them for the sake of these investigations, or at least mutilated them. I know they've like cut off fingers and stuff. So, it's a shame they have to destroy the body. I guess if it does, get some wider attention and get some more, get some people on board with this and interested in investigating it, it would be worth it. I've also heard there could be upwards of 100 bodies, and that's insane. That's nuts. That's nuts. Let's see if there's anything else in this article. Unlike scientists in Peru who labeled the figures as dolls, Serena's team will film independent autopsies and medical scans related to these controversial figures. Autopsies, so multiple autopsies. This comes after an independent study from Mexican officials claimed the ET figures were dolls made from human and animal parts. So yeah. There's 100. There could well be hundreds of it, man. Live action. That's right. When societies pretend medical doctors from third world countries are somehow not qualified, LOL. Yeah. Hey, look at this thing has organically grown tissue and internal organs. Never mind, the doctor was Peruvian. Exactly. It's so stupid. It's so stupid. Leviathan says, anyone else been paying attention to the announcements of water, ice on Mars, phosphines in the atmosphere in Venus? Yeah, I haven't. I haven't been paying attention to that. Leviathan, educate us on what's going on there. Christian says, I know someone who knows Tom DeLonge, and apparently that story is real, and the book is fiction, but a lot of it is true. Which book was that? I missed your comment. Oh, and thank you so much, Chirp. I appreciate that. That's awesome. You rock too. Let's see. What book are y'all talking about? Um, Keeper says, I just don't want them to do these autopsies. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a shame to destroy these bodies. It really is. But I guess if it gets a few more people to investigate this, or a few more eyes on this, and that gets a few more and a few more and a few more, little pebbles starting an avalanche, it could be worth it. Justin says, Jack, I love your show. I used to read Twitter manually like a pleb. Hey, that's what I'm here for. I surf Twitter so you don't have to. No. Yeah, I encourage everybody to do their own research. But love to collate as much as I can for you. Kim says, heard Carson talk about oxygen on Mars. Carson. Is that which Carson? Let's see. Leviathan says 2 miles of water of water ice on Mars equator would have been the biggest would have been the biggest news ever 15 years ago. Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, our bar for what is newsworthy right now has really been raised. Astro says, Jack, I'm interested in the previous work you did. Can you please share with me what to check out first? Previous work, yeah, as far as UFOs goes, as a writer, I'm happy to talk about it, Astro. Can you nail that down a little bit? Wolfstein says, I love that name, Wolfstein. Specifically, you need 2 inflatons, one expanding inflaton, one space-time inflaton. You tie them together to create something like a wormhole. Okay, I'd never heard that term before. Inflaton. Thank you, Wolfstein. That's how you create a wormhole. Okay, I guess all we need to get some inflatons, guys, and we can get some wormholes going on. We can just go to Mars directly, see what's going on with those ice sheets, or what the water ice. Christian says Lazar is telling what he thinks is the truth. He did. Oh, thank you so much. Hype me up. I like that name. Do you have a meditation guide recommendation? Thanks, loves. Thanks for the show. Okay, so my favorite meditation is oh my god, I can never pronounce it. It's the one with the hand movements where you do the Gobinde, that thing. You know what I'm talking about? Gobinde, that thing. I really like the hand movements. As many hand movements as in mantras as you can get into a meditation, because that quiets my mind. I'm not just a chatterbox, a mental chatterbox. I have to have something to do to occupy myself while I'm meditating, so that I don't just spin off. Oh, hey, Michael, how's it going? Michael Herrera has joined the chat. Nice. We have some big things going on behind the scenes with the receptive politicians interested in this. Hopefully, I'll have more information by the time I'm on your show. Awesome. Well, I can't wait for you to be on the show, Michael. Let's do it. Badass. Badass. And I'm very excited to see what's going on behind the scenes. What furniture is being erected. Brett says, Jack, really appreciate all you do. What are your thoughts on Grush and Lou and those on TTSA coming from the intelligence community? Well, I know we're all quick to dismiss everybody from the intelligence community. None of them can be trusted, right? Well, unfortunately, a lot of this disclosure stuff is coming from those guys. I mean, Grush is an intelligence guy. Lou, they're all intelligence, and yet they are kickstarting disclosure. We wouldn't be where we are right now with Congress passing, even in a neutered form, the UFO Disclosure Act, without those guys from the intelligence community. So I wouldn't be so quick to dismiss the intelligence community. But, we also have to realize they are operating on handcuffs, and they are, beholden to a certain extent and can't reveal all they know. Are some of them obligated to a certain narrative? That's a little worrisome. If there is some sort of control, in an effort to control the narrative, possibly that's what worries me. But at least they are getting this disclosure out there. So yeah. So yeah, that's my take on that. Take every, you have to use your own discernment about who is a truth teller. Michael says, "Thank you guys. Keep up this work." Awesome, man. You keep it up. I can't wait to see what you do. UFO Arc says Chris Lato did some live meditation recently. Okay. Well, maybe if I did it live, I would do it more often. That was actually one of my New Year's resolutions, was to do a daily practice of meditation. And because I haven't been doing that. And I have, I've noticed that hey, Christian, how's it going? Yeah, this is going to get into a woo woo area. But over the last few years, I've had some really cool experiences that could be termed as, interacting with the greater phenomenon. And, I think that has declined recently for me. And I want to get back to that because I was really enjoying those interactions. And I think if I were meditating more and doing more stuff like that, Reiki and stuff like that, maybe I would have more of those interactions. So, but that gets into very woo-woo stuff and not everybody's cup of tea. And I respect that. Thank you so much, Christian. I appreciate that. Let's see. What else? There was one other thing. Oh yeah. Willie Strieber on Chris Lato talking about how he was given information about some of the alien bodies that were not completed. When they were studying the bodies, their esophagus would be weirdly truncated and stuff like that, as if they hadn't been finished or fully baked. That is so weird. So these were living beings, apparently, maybe grays or gray type beings of some sort. And he's saying the information that he was given, and we don't know who gave him this information or how reliable it is. But this is what Willie Strieber is talking about on Chris Lato. And I don't know exactly when this broadcast was done, but this information is evergreen. I mean, this is just really juicy information. The thought that these beings could be incompleted, some half materialized or molded, or if these are created, out of some sort of a tube or machine. Did they fail to complete some of them 100%, and they were still functional? And gets back to the Nazca mummies and how they weren't articulated very well. These things don't seem to have been, the result of natural evolution. They seem to have been created for some purpose, possibly to interact with Earth or humans. Who knows? But weird if true. And I would play that for you. I was actually hoping to start playing some stuff for you on StreamYards, but apparently StreamYards isn't allowing me to share the audio of these shared videos, which is very frustrating. And if you guys have a workaround around that, that would be super badass, because I don't know how to do that. But yeah. What do you think about half-formed or not half-formed, but not completed alien bodies that are still functional, that are still moving, living, or living entities of some sort? That's nuts. Justin, okay, about Nico. Yeah. Okay. So I'm actually going to have an update with Nico, hopefully tomorrow or the next day in the very near future, because he has told me, and what we talked about with John Stewart yesterday, we had a conversation where Nico might have some corroborative evidence, but I'm going to let him speak for himself about that. And I don't want to jump the gun on that or get ahead of Nico. But yeah. So that might happen in the next few days. I hope so, because it's really interesting information. Yeah. Leviathan says, I've abandoned 3D prints before. Yeah, screw those half formed beings, right? Michael Herrera says, we want this to be transparent, so the more we hold the government accountable, the good guys within can help end the corruption and greed with this. Man, that's what we need, Michael, is we need an end to the corruption. There's, people have had this power for a long time and have been hiding this from us and, abusing the power they have. And they clearly need oversight. I mean, if there's assassinations and other stuff going on, clearly these guys need some oversight. So we need official government disclosure. As much as I would like to say everybody just go out and meditate and do CE5 and interact with the phenomenon on their own, and that would constitute disclosure, we don't need the government. We can't really do that because we do need actual oversight of these black budget programs. And it's scary what these guys have been getting away with all these years. UFO Arc says Grant Cameron was an excellent guest. Oh, look, I've been following Grant for years, and I was so happy to have him on the show. Yeah, I'm a big fan. Hope to have him again if I can keep up with him. I mean, he talks a mile a minute. My God. I've heard somebody say usually they watch YouTube videos on like 1.5 speed, but for him, they actually had to slow it down. And Contigo, yes, Michael Herrera, that is the whistleblower. That is the Michael Herrera. And Guillermo Barnaby says, do you think one of your friends will come forward to confirm your story? There must be, probably talking to Mike. Yeah, there must be other cases like yours, especially if a fiction book was written. Y'all are talking about a book. I missed the whole book thing. Is that Leviathan Rise? Because there's a YouTube a commenter called Leviathan Rise. Is that the name of your book? Is that what you're talking about? I totally missed the book thing. Let me know what book y'all are talking about. But yeah, this is a bummer that I can't share the audio of some videos because I was hoping to show a couple of videos to you guys, and it doesn't look like that's going to be possible. Yeah, well, but we can talk about whatever you guys want. Ask me anything. If you want to talk about the DoD report, which was, just they evaluated what the DoD has done as far as reporting on UFOs and and various other agencies, Air Force and stuff like that, and and trying to integrate existing procedures into the reporting of UFOs and in making our airspaces safe. And that's kind of about the gist of it. It all went back to Arrow though. Arrow came up over and over again in the report. Everything goes to Arrow. It's all Arrow is the hub of UAP UFO. It's the organizational body that does this. Unfortunately, and that is what the report said again and again. It all goes to Arrow. So until we have a leadership of Arrow that we can trust, what's the point of any of it? It's just so frustrating. It's so frustrating. From the site, StreamYards, click present and then share screen. Click Chrome tab at the top, select your music tab, then select share audio and click share. Okay, I'm using Edge right now. Can I do it with Edge? I'm gonna have to investigate that. I don't want to do that while y'all are waiting on me. But Michael says I'm working on getting more pokers in the fire. There are similar events that have happened to others. The group who held us was private, but uses government funding as well. That's fascinating. So the events, are you talking about the I don't know if you call it an abduction or whatever it was that you witnessed, where possibly people were being loaded aboard the UFO, the human operated UFO. Is that the event you're talking about? So that has happened multiple times. Am I understanding that right? Michael says, I've only seen the reverse engineered craft, no ETs. Hopefully one day we will all see them. Absolutely. You're here. I mean, I think it's likely that we're seeing them now in Nazca, but I know we all want to see some living beings and some fresh beings. But yeah, we'll see. Levelized comments from Michael. I'm trying to figure. Let's see. With all the reports of a private Lockheed strike team, you think Air Force special tactics are being hired out? Yeah, the Lockheed thing is really crazy because if that story is true, then that there's a Lockheed strike team that has a license to kill. That is kind of terrifying. Kind of terrifying. And I don't know, but I'm gonna hopefully have that interview with Nico here in the next few days, and there's going to be some corroborative information, hopefully that Nico can provide on that. But I don't want to get ahead of Nico. Keeper says, Jack, I have been thinking about checking out your books. Now, I know you have mentioned before that you have Atlantis in them. What are your favorite things about Atlantis that you have researched? Well, there's so much. I love Atlantis. I love the whole idea of Atlantis. I always thought it was silly. I was fun to think about, but pretty silly. But then once I got into all of this and started investigating it, there's a lot of connections to ancient history, right? And there seems to be ancient epochs of human civilization that have vanished. And the most recent was the Atlantean era, if you will, the Atlantean Lemurian era. Even if you don't want to call it Atlantis, call it whatever you want. It's just you could use that as a placeholder name for the vanished epoch of human civilization before us. And but there's so much. I mean, there's global imprints of this lost civilization or even civilizations. And I guess the fun parts about it are what did they discover? What did they do different than we are doing? They don't seem to have had the technological civilization that we do in the way that we have progressed with electricity and gadgets and stuff like that. They seem to have progressed along a different line, maybe a more esoteric or spiritual line. And that gets into the woo-woo stuff, but that's where a lot of this stuff goes. I mean, a lot of people are not comfortable talking about the woo-woo. But I mean, even David Grush is talking about extra dimensional aspects of this. That's just is where a lot of this goes. That's where a lot of this goes. Mike says, David, I will talk about my experience at the black site when I'm clear to keeping those help me keep safe. Absolutely. Well, we want you to keep safe, Mike. When I can, it's going to bring my more awareness to how they operate. Yeah. Joint Base LM just got new radar from Lockheed for their Apaches. Look for more videos soon, I guess. Okay, that sounds intriguing. Tim says, Eternal Karen, nah, just want to see SK squirm. What is Eternal Karen? Is that carry on? I missed something. Yeah, and Pazolka connects with Archangel Michael. Okay, I missed Diana Pazolka talking about Michael. What does she have to say about Archangel Michael? That's interesting. Because I got into spirituality through my study of UFOs, and there are multiple experiencers, alien abductees who have seen Michael aboard ship. Right? That's and this is me. At the time I was an atheist, and to me that means somebody that does not believe in the spiritual. You can get pedantic and say it's non-religious, but to me that has always meant not spiritual, not a believer in the soul. But so at the time I was a total atheist, materialist, reading about people seeing Michael aboard UFOs, and I don't know if that's a screen, a memory, an implanted image or thought, but it is intriguing that has happened to multiple people. Some people see him differently, however, which is also intriguing. Trying to make sense of that. Hey, Moo, how's it going? And thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yeah, Hyper Time says, can't wait for the Giants. Yeah, me too, man. Me too. That's going to be awesome. Yeah, just think we are living in a world where we could theoretically get giant alien or hybrid bodies revealed to us in just a few days' time. Isn't that incredible? So yeah, I guess I don't need to do that anymore. Yeah, so we could get giant bodies in a few days. And now that Timberchet and Muskowitz and Luna and all those guys have gone to the skiff, they presumably know the locations of some of these programs. So it is theoretically possible for them to get access to these programs, right? I mean, what are the odds that that's going to happen? That Tim knocks on their door and they let him in and give him the tour. Probably not going to happen, but it's possible, right? With the backing of Congress and the power of Congress, theoretically that could happen. And it's also theoretical that if that did happen, Tim might bring a news crew with him. We might get a live stream with Timberchet and Muskowitz and Luna standing atop a UFO. That's my dream. Live press conference with Tim atop a UFO. I want to see it. Do I think that's going to happen? No, I don't. But I think that'd be badass. But we are living in the reality right now where that is at least a theoretical possibility. So I love it. I love it. Do you have a specific spiritual teacher or movement you follow more than others? For me, Rudolf Steiner has been quite important. Are you familiar with him? I've heard of Rudolf. Oh, thank you so much, Justin. I appreciate that. I haven't studied Rudolf. My spiritual practice really comes from my Reiki instructor, Bonnie, and she's really good. And I've had some really cool experiences over there that I mean, I can't even talk about because you would think I was crazy. But Bonnie is really good, and she has also presided over or kickstarted both of our MUFON CE5 skywatches that we've done, because we've had a CE5 portion of the two skywatches that we've done, and we had contact both times, and I credit all of that to Bonnie for making contact with whatever the hell is up there. whatever the heaven, whatever is up there. Yeah, don't want to think negatively, positively. And people were having like really amazing, like transcendent experiences the first time, like interacting with these beings of light and stuff. It was weird. I didn't see anything. I wasn't one of those, chosen to participate in that exciting event. I was there, and ostensibly I was leading the effort. I asked Bonnie to kickstart it for us because of her mojo, and to make do the she did her swirling the energies and making a beam, and then inviting everything the beings of the highest vibration down to interact with us, and they did. And about 6 or 7 people were having these interactions with these beings that were they were like half out of their body. And I mean, it wasn't like UFOs flying around in the sky, although some people were seeing weird colorful lights. One person described it as like a kind of like a barbell, like a rainbow barbell with a pulsing from one end to the other of different colors. And I mean, again, it was an overcast day. I didn't see anything. I didn't have any out of body experiences, but multiple people were reporting this, independent of each other, having no knowledge of each other's experiences. They were coming up to me, telling me about their experiences, and so I was blown away. So yeah, so Bonnie's the real deal, and I've had some really cool experiences with her. And I did a 1.5 year Reiki class with her. We did 3.5 hours every week, and so as much as I can be said to have a spiritual practice, that's it. I'm not religious, although I mean, okay, I mean, I guess you could consider ayahuasca also a spiritual practice, and I've had some amazing experiences with ayahuasca and others really cool stuff. But I don't have like a specific spiritual practice. I don't consider myself, I'm not a theist, although I did have that really cool Jesus experience. So that was neat. That was neat. But yeah, we're getting really woo woo, and I know a lot of you guys aren't into that. So I don't want to like freak you guys out. Pete says, could the recent outpouring of the UFO UAP situation be reflected of the last time nuclear tensions were this high, like the Cold War, where UFO knowledge was used tactically to give the U.S. an advantage? Interesting. Okay. Okay. I like that. Let's see. Michael was thinking, Guillermo, Guillaume. I know I'm mispronouncing your name. I apologize. Crow says Gary Nolan interviews with Ross Coulthart and Lex Friedman. Okay. Same timestamps, both videos. Look, I promise it's worth a look. Okay. Well, I mean, those two together, that always sounds like it's worth a look. Stina says, love the woo woo. Thank you for sharing. Awesome. I used to know somebody named Stina, so nice to see you, Stina. Michael says, Contigo, I did last April. Okay, what did you do last April? I missed Contigo's comment. Going up to Contigo. I missed so many of your great comments, blabbering on. Hank says, Jack, why do you think only 2 to 4% of the population is informed on the UFO topic? Is it only 2 to 4%? Do we have those statistics? Because that's really discouraging if that's true. I mean, I've seen statistics where a majority of people believe in ET life. I don't know how many of those people believe in visitations. That the phenomenon is here. But if it's only 2 to 4% believe in this stuff, that is discouraging, Hank. I haven't seen that. Can you link to that? Because that does sound discouraging. It does. Hello, Jack from Philippines. Hey, how's it going? How's it going, Philippines? And for anybody watching this outside of the outside of the U.S., the UFS, why not? UFOS. Hello and welcome all viewers abroad. That's really cool. Let's see. And yeah, Gary Nolan interviews with Ross Coulthart and Lex Friedman. Is that a new interview? I may have seen an older interview like that. Kill Dragon says UFOs are replicated with a type of trans-dimensional stereolithography by higher dimensional beings, along with crews and everything all at once. My theory. That's a good theory. Some of these things are probably 3D ships coming from our 3D reality, but a lot of them seem to be coming from somewhere else. And, that could be how they work, materializing into this world. But it's weird that when they do materialize into this world, assuming that that's some of the ships that are now in the possession of the control group, that they can be studied and reverse engineered. I mean, they are physical ships that have presumably propulsion systems and stuff that can be studied and examined and possibly even flown. So that's just so weird to consider that if any of these are manifesting from somewhere else, that they could be that real. But that could be what's going on. I don't know. But there is definitely some evidence to suggest that maybe what's going on with some of them. But I don't know if any of those are like actually in our possession or not. But we don't know enough about the ones in our possession. We know some of their shapes, and Bob Lazar talked about one that was actually able to be flown, and it seems like probably multiple of them are able to be flown. So, but we really don't know. And we know one of them was recovered from an archaeological site, at least one. And, probably multiple of them have been recovered from places outside of the U.S., but we really don't have a lot of details about these ships. Are they from Mars? Are they from, Pleiades? Are they from a higher level of existence? I don't know. I would love to know. Yeah, let's see. Astro says, thanks, Luke. I just drawn me. Okay. I missed. Give me shelter, Rolling Stones. Yeah. Oh, Bob Marley. Okay. Yeah, nice. All right. Got a Bob Marley reference and a Rolling Stones reference. And one thing. I like it. Brett says, could you explain the connection between UFO and Skinwalker Ranch? Well, they've got UFOs at Skinwalker Ranch. They've got a bunch of crazy stuff going on at Skinwalker Ranch. I love it. That's really what got me started into the weird aspects of the UFOs. But yeah, so the government studied Skinwalker Ranch, and that's where OSAP started, the Advanced Aerial Weapons, whatever it is. And, ATIP was a, splinter thing from OSAP. And, UAP Task Force is a continuation of ATIP in a way. And Arrow is a continuation of UAP Task Force after it was co-opted, I think, after Jay Stratton left by the control group. Jay Stratton seems to have been a sincerely motivated individual, but after him, I think that's when things went south, and that's why we have Sean Kirkpatrick, or we did have Sean Kirkpatrick as the director of Arrow. But yeah, so it all goes back to Skinwalker Ranch. Our modern era of UFO disclosure began at a spooky haunted ranch with space ghosts, as Stephen Greenstreet says. Space ghosts. Hey, it might have space ghosts. It might have space ghosts. Skinwalker Ranch might have space ghosts. I mean, they got skinwalkers. They've got portals. They've got ghosty activity. They've got UFOs. They've got cattle mutilations. They've got creepy, weird things running around. They've got cryptids. Why not space ghost? Why not space ghost? Love it. Uh, Stephen Greenstreet says that it is an attempt to debunk Skinwalker Ranch, but I mean, fuck, they may have a space ghost, you know. Mike says Arrow did that with all of us. However, I spoke to some people with Senate, Congress prior to going to the Pentagon. Okay, I'm missing Michael's conversation, man. I can't wait to have you on, Michael, to get all this juicy stuff. Keeper Kish says that feels like a really low statistic. Yeah, it does. If it's only 2 to 4%, man, that is such a low percentage. But Ralph says I'm 100% convinced Dr. Kirkpatrick is just a total shill, whether he knows anything or not. Oh, he knows stuff. I've given you his resume and the people that he's been associated with, like Bobby Ray Inman, who admitted, that on a taped phone call that he knew about reverse engineering, was presumably involved in crash retrievals and reverse engineering. SK has the lovely SK has a long history in science and tech and intelligence, and it seems like they were grooming him for something, and he was probably part of something. And he went from did he go from Battelle to Oak Ridge with Arrow as the interim? So he was promised a cushy gig, possibly reverse engineering UFOs with Oak Ridge, if I'm remembering that right. But he's going from one company that has associated with UFO reverse engineering to another with connections with Bobby Ray Inman and the background and intelligence and science. I mean, the dude knows stuff. And then he's been covering this up. And when people like David Grush go to him, he basically denies it. And when other whistleblowers go to him, he just, puts them to the side and doesn't even follow up on their reports. I mean, that doesn't sound like just like a regular bureaucrat that doesn't believe in it, right? That sounds like somebody that is deliberately suppressing this information. SK is a agent of the control group. I mean, I don't hate Sean Kirkpatrick. I mean, he's just doing his shift as a man in black or whatever he is. But as a goon of the control group. But I'm sure he's a perfectly lovely individual in private. But he is a stooge. Michael says Leviathan, yes, but I had hoped, glad that the senators took it serious, which was to hold Arrow accountable. Did they? Did they hold it accountable? Michael, I want you to reassure me that the senators are holding Arrow accountable. Michael says Dr. K has handlers, 2 of which are bad gatekeepers to the legacy program. Yeah, and I've covered that. That was amazing, groundbreaking reporting by Matt Ford, right? That SK had that, he had his private panel that I think he wasn't disclosing to Congress, and that 2 of those people on that private review board were control group people, and and he was keeping that secret. So yeah, what are the odds that he's just like a bureaucrat doing his job, just like not involved in UFOs at all? SK is a total stooge in my opinion. Let's see. Mr. Legendary Stin says the most frustrating thing to me is thinking of the people who find Dr. K to be reliable and buy what he's saying hook, line, and sinker. I know. right? Various news articles and others say, oh, well, Sean Kirkpatrick says there's no UFOs and no reason to be alarmed. So I guess there's nothing to see here. Move along, folks. Move along. Then people buy that. I mean, it's really disgusting. Just like with the Nazca mummies, you trot out some obvious dolls to discredit all the mummies. Those dolls are not part of the Nazca mummies. And the guy that they confiscated them from says, those are my dolls. You confiscated my dolls. I want my dolls back. And they still people buy the disinfo. It's just so disheartening. People just aren't ready to believe. Those people, ontological shock, whatever. It's disgusting. It's too bad. It's too bad. I don't want to say disgusting because there was a time, years ago when I didn't believe in any of this either. Of course, we didn't have UFO disclosure acts and alien bodies, but still. But yeah, I remember my uncle was a big UFO guy, and I would kind of roll my eyes. He would try to get me to go to his UFO group, and I was like, "Yeah, thanks, Uncle Mike, but you have fun with your tinfoil hats, and I'll trot along to my normal everyday human activity." So I get it. If you haven't been exposed to the evidence of it, it's really hard to believe. But once you are exposed to the evidence of it, it's just, I mean, it's overwhelming. It's overwhelming. It's still, and then, people like us that are indoctrinated in all this, or that are exposed to this, I should say, looking at normies saying, you're idiots, because they act like it. But there was a time not long ago when I was one of those idiots. So I do have some sympathy. But at least I was open minded, and all of us here are open minded. And, so it's frustrating. Hey, John Greenwald, any thoughts on John Greenwald? He seems to spend more time trying to discredit people like Grush and Mellon instead of fighting for the right cause. Disinfo agent or just a skeptic? That's a good question. I don't think he's a disinfo agent. I think that he is a skeptic. A lot of people don't want to go there in their thinking on this. And I think John Greenwald is one of them. But he's moderately open-minded. I don't want to be too nice to John, since he called me some rando not long ago. Thanks, John Greenwald. I think that a lot of people, do have that attitude where they don't want to look at the totality of the evidence and the full truth of it all. They're willing to go a little distance, but they're not willing to go very far. And you have people like David Grush coming out talking about biologics and UFO reverse engineering programs, and that's just too far for some people like John Greenwald. They're willing to say, hey, the government's been covering some stuff up, and I'll FOIA it, and I'll, gather this awesome database of FOIA documents. And hats off to him for doing that. But he's not willing to stretch his imagination or his brain enough to fully go there. And that's too bad. That's too bad, because I mean, he's part of the UFO community, and he spends a lot of his energy trying to debunk UFOs and UFO truth tellers. And that's just a damn shame. That's a damn shame. UFO Arc says, how many officials has talked about a galactic federation? I'm thinking Hillier of Canada and the General or Israel Air Force. Yeah, that's right. Brigadier General Hayim Ashed, one of the co-founders of the Israeli space program, talking about the Galactic Federation, and Paul Hillier talking about that, and various others. Experiencers also have talked about the Galactic Federation. There are even experiencers who claim to have interacted with the Galactic Federation. It's hard to know how much of that is real and how much of that is not. Clearly, if there are alien races, which there are, and if there's multiple races and they're interacting with each other in the same space, they would have some sort of bureaucratic process in how to interact with each other, right? They would probably have some form of United Nations or something like that, right? So there would be a galactic federation. That makes perfect sense. And then you get into the weird Gene Roddenberry thing, where he was participating in these channeled sessions of, channeling some being, and the idea that, possibly what we call the Galactic Federation in Star Trek is actually from the Galactic Federation information that he got from that channeled being. But we don't really know what information, or at least I have not seen any credible accounts of what specific information Gene Roddenberry received from those channeled accounts. I know he was part of it. He was part of that group that did that. I forget what their name was or what that being was called. If you remember, let me know. But yeah, Gene Roddenberry was part of this group that there's a guy that channeled a being, and all the information would come through and they would write it down. And I think Gene was probably one of those guys that was writing it down. And I don't know. I think this may have been before he started writing Star Trek or during. So I don't know if it was during, then that was after he already created the idea of the Galactic Federation, or that term, in which case the being may have been copying his terminology by saying that if that being referenced the Galactic Federation. So yeah, great food for thought. If anybody knows, the specifics on what Gene Roddenberry learned with those channeled sessions, I'd be really curious because I've never seen any credible accounts. Oh, Luke says I live a few miles from Kecksburg. Will you cover Kecksburg crash in 1964? Yeah, Kecksburg was a cool one. The acorn-shaped crash that was, a classic crash and recovery by the military, seen by many people. I want to say there's even photos of that acorn-shaped object under a tarpaulin on a truck. And, just a classic UFO crash retrieval, although kind of a weird shaped object, which is interesting. It was acorn shaped, right? Was it acorn or was it bill like? I think it was acorn shaped, which is very similar to the shape of ships described by some of the people being attacked in Peru. That's from the Timothy Alberino information when he went down there and they were giving him descriptions of these craft. A lot of them were acorn shaped. So, I mean, could that be related to Kecksburg? Were there some face peelers, trying in Kecksburg? Was that one of ours? Was that one of theirs? I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, great case. A great case, Luke. Thank you for bringing that up. Crow says Gary tells Lex Friedman he doesn't believe in the Greys. Then, same timestamp, an interview with Ross Coulthart, Gary talks about his experience with the Greys. Gary Nolan's an experiencer. I mean, he's an abductee, and he had aliens in his bedroom as a kid. That didn't happen randomly. And he hasn't talked a lot about that. He may not even be aware of anything besides that, other than seeing a UFO once or twice. But aliens don't just show up randomly in your bedroom. So it seems based on that account that he's an experiencer, an abductee, a contactee, whatever you want to call it, which is really interesting. Does he have any conscious memories of those experiences or not? Because most people don't, right? So so if he says he doesn't believe in Greys, that's again, I don't know, because he'll talk about that childhood incident and then he'll like kind of dismiss it, right? I could have been imagining or whatever he says. So maybe he doesn't believe in Greys, even though he may be an abductee or contactee. But yeah, good point. Lex says Kirkpatrick is a complete disinformation. Default whistleblowers don't have to go to Arrow. They can just go to Congress, so we know he's lying. Justin said, yeah, no, he's totally lying. He's totally lying. Let's see. Y'all are talking about interdimensionality. P. Victor says interdimensionality is a classic deep state distraction. They're here and our governments are covertly working with them. Well, no doubt, P. Victor, our governments are covertly working with them 100%. I will argue with you on the interdimensionality. I can't say that word. You know me in pronunciation. Interdimensionality. Oh no, I'm not. Okay. I gave it a shot, guys. I gave it a shot. But my experiences with the phenomenon and with the greater phenomenon uh, clearly suggest a dimensional aspect to it. So it's yeah. I fully believe the dimensionality. Okay, you know what I'm saying? I believe it's dimensional. I believe a lot of this is other dimensional, and that's what a lot of experiencers say that are higher level experiencers than myself. I'm down here. They're up there. There's been people that have been to other planets and other dimensions and stuff. So I don't want to overhype my experiences. But let's see. Bob Marley says, get UFO Jane back at my friend. She's old school and honest. Okay. Okay. Uh, don't click the channel, says like and subscribe. So, okay. A little mixed messaging with your name and what you're saying, but I like it. I like it. Leviathan says we're in the hypothesis generation phase as seen on Carl Nell's slide. The point is uh, to enlarge the public's conception of possibilities to lessen the shock. Okay, I like that. I like that. Talking about MK Ultra. Well, I'm just way behind on all of your comments. But yeah. Oh, John. Hey, John Ramirez. John has joined the chat. He says the beings can project a reality into our heads, is what Gary said. Yeah, well, they can. They can mess with your mind. They can make you see or think or whatever they want. So yeah, the beings, yeah, 100%, 100%. Luke says they have a UFO festival there in Kecksburg with a replica of the object. Strange alien writing. Oh, that's right. There's some writing on that. What did it look like? Was it like hieroglyphics? What did the writing look like? Because it's been a while since I've studied Kecksburg. Michael says, I do a lot of guided meditations from my teacher and take breaks. Come days, it gets hard, especially learning the darker truths with this. I never thought I'd be in the middle of this. Well, God bless you, Mike. You are doing us all a huge service, and I know you're taking some arrows for us, and I really appreciate it. I know that's not much fun to be under that much scrutiny. Yeah, I'd be curious to know about your meditation practice. What do you meditate to? And Contigo says the CIA murdered Kennedy. Well, I've talked about that before. It's possible. Possible. It's not impossible. They certainly have covered it up, and seems like they were connected with some deaths afterward to cover things up. So whether they actually did it or not, I don't know, but they were certainly involved in some level, at least in the cover up. From my research, Gloaming says CIA will only MK Ultra you. They'd never lie about aliens, right? MK Ultra, that's some dark stuff, man. That's some dark stuff. Some people think that's connected to the UFO control group. That the MK Ultra was some spinoff of the control group. I don't know if that's the case or not. I think it was probably standalone, but I mean, you never know. You never know. Those deep, scary projects. I mean, they could all be connected. Keeper Cash says, I've been thinking about this for a while. Do you think the real reason Jay Corbell and George Knapp are choosing to space themselves from the Nazca mummies is maybe they are afraid to lose support if covered? Oh, 100%. I think a lot of these mainstream ufologists you don't want to lose their cred. I mean, they have spent years building up their credibility in, I'm trying to phrase this correctly, but getting the audience receptive to hear what they have to say. And if they go and talk about, what things that audience may consider crazy, even if it's like the most nuts and bolts stuff ever in the history of anything. I mean, they're freaking bodies. It's not even woo woo. It's bodies. We got your bodies, guys. Then they're going to lose support because ontological shock or whatever from the audience. So people like that, and also probably Gary Nolan. Although Gary Nolan did study a different body, so I got to give him credit for that. But he got burned on that, and he's probably not going to touch it again for a while, unless Avi Loeb or some other credible person comes forward to do it also. But yeah, George Knapp and those guys, they're not going to touch it. They're not going to touch it. They work too hard for too long to get some level of mainstream acceptance, and they're not going to sacrifice that, even for we got bodies, guys. I mean, this is disclosure. This is disclosure, but they're not going to go there unless Gary Nolan did it. If Gary Nolan did it, George would cover it, 100%. 100%. Let's see. John says the beings can project our reality. Yeah, no, totally, absolutely. Air Dominique says, following your daily updates for 2 weeks now. What's your thoughts on the Las Vegas incident from a couple of months ago? Yeah, I mean, I think that's probably a real incident. We clearly need more information. I would love more videos or more accounts, but it seems to be a very isolated incident with a family in a backyard, possibly a UFO in the sky that was captured on camera. But yeah, we just really need more information about it. Hang on. There. But yeah, no, I think the Las Vegas incident is real, and we could be looking at a situation where we have an increasing number of public incidents. Possibly, I don't want to say that was like orchestrated or planned. It didn't seem like a plan the beings have. They weren't like doing anything that you know seemed planned, seemed random. But who knows? Maybe it was planned. Crow says, thanks for addressing it for us. I found it weird that his Gary Nolan discrepancy was at same timestamp in both interviews. Okay, yeah, so he did 2 interviews, and at the same time in both interviews, he talked about that. That is intriguing. Like the exact same timestamp, he talked about that. Interesting. Interesting. That is a weird synchronicity if that's what it was. Ralph says Michael Herrera, obsessive materialism, diminishment of agency, manipulation of other agents to obtain a desired object or affect, etc. We still have some great traits, but they are way imbalanced. I totally missed what that conversation was about. Luke says U.S. claims Soviet spy satellite. Oh, by the way, guys, if I'm missing any of your comments, I apologize. If you want me to see your comments right away and reply to it, leave a super chat or super thanks because I will see that right away. I'm hitting you up for super chats, but I will also see that right away, just as a practical concern. Let's see. UFO Arc says, Jack, regarding the Rendlesham Forest incident, there was an earlier UFO there in 65 that the U.S. Air Force and RAF, Royal Air Force, scrambled fighters to. Okay, intriguing. I've studied so many UFO cases. I'm not, they get kind of blurred together in my head often. So you'll have to, refresh my memory on that. But fighters scrambled for a UFO interception, I assume, and both the U.S. and the British scrambled fighters to do that. That sounds like a pretty juicy incident. Can you link to that? Because if I haven't researched that, I definitely need to research that. And I assume there's like some corroboration for that. There's like some documents and stuff because that is a juicy incident. I would love it if some of the pilots would talk about that. Hank says, well, if the Las Vegas aliens and the Miami Mall aliens don't strongly suggest there is another place or dimension we are not aware of, then I don't know what sort of proof we need. Well, I just to play the devil's advocate. I mean, Hank, I'm 100% with you. There's other dimensions and stuff, and a lot of this stuff is coming from somewhere else. But just to play devil's advocate, you could say there's a crash or something in Vegas and they were wandering around like in Virginia. The Miami Mall thing, that's so nebulous. But, as far as the actual particulars of the event, there's people saying there's teens that opened a portal. Could that be, you could make an argument that could be to another planet or something in our 3D reality, not necessarily from another dimension. But these beings are very weird. I mean, these tall, shadowy figures that people are describing definitely seems more other dimensional or even paranormal, doesn't it? Although one guy, that ghost hunter guy that I showed the other day, He said that, he's a ghost hunter, and he says that no, what he was looking at the Miami Mall was not paranormal; it was alien, even though it was weird and shadowy and kind of nebulous. He said no alien. So, interesting, but yeah, absolutely, Hank. I'm 100% with you. This is a lot of this stuff was other dimensional, and that could well be what was going on in Miami. I don't know what the hell happened in Miami, but something went down there. 100+ police cars don't just show up for what they were, for the narrative that they trotted out to us. That doesn't happen. That doesn't happen. I mean, that's some huge terrorist attack sort of thing. It's which they would have talked about if that had happened. So I mean, they talk about terrorist attacks. So yeah. Something happened there. Something happened. Bob Marley says, my friend. Okay, got a super chat. Got a super chat. Oh, Michael Herrera. Michael, I should be giving you super chats. You don't need to be giving me super chats. But thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you for the support, especially supporting people like Jack. We will get a date soon, and we may do a Q&A. Have a good weekend. All right, well, I guess Michael is leaving us. But thank you so much, Michael, for hanging out with us. I really appreciate it. That was a real treat. And for anybody that missed it, Michael Herrera had joined the chat and was hanging out with us for a good while. For it seemed like close to 30 minutes, maybe an hour. That's awesome, man. That's awesome. I love it. Have a great weekend and hope to talk to you soon, man. Bob Marley says, my friend, look up Tim Kennedy and what they still do to South Americas. Okay. I'm not real familiar with Tim Kennedy or what that has anything to do with South America. Can you give me a clue? Josh says, some do that prickly immobile thing that freaks me out. Talking about aliens? Brett says, who is your favorite whistleblower or witness? Well, Michael Herrera just gave me $10. So right now I'm going Michael Herrera. No, kidding. They're all great, man. It's all, pebbles in an avalanche, right? Each one is important. Without one, we wouldn't have the other. They're all links in a chain that are going to get us to the disclosure in a big way. And, hopefully that'll lead to something really great. Age of Aquarius, I'm an optimist. Who knows what it'll lead to. If we do have open, even if it's more of a, 3D nuts and bolts disclosure, if that leads us to an interaction with the phenomenon, and still getting over a little bit of a cold. But if it does lead us to an interaction with the phenomenon, just as far as like technology goes, just think of the benefits. Med beds, cures for all diseases, living longer, cleaning up the planet, for example. Aliens are so obsessed with the planet, they don't give us any technology to clean it up. But maybe if we had open disclosure, that would change. So yeah, all whistleblowers are important because they're going to get us there. Hopefully, if disclosure, if raising people's consciousnesses, the general public, if that's what the phenomenon is waiting for, then that could get us there. Of course, we don't really know if that's what the phenomenon is waiting for. That is what they have told various people. Like Haim Shed. Haim has shed his information was that we were not ready, or the beings had said that we were not ready, and we would not be ready until we understood what space and spaceships are. And I've talked about the meaning of that several times on the channel. If space is a created reality, and spaceships can come and go from that reality to other dimensions or whatever, that could be what that means. So yeah, I don't know, guys. When do you think we're going to be ready? When is the phenomenon going to reveal itself in mass? Let's see. Leviathan says, yes, we now know that molecules can be entangled. Luke says, shapes and designs of 90 in 45 ST8 lines, unlike any of our written languages. Tess says, you ready for war, brother? I'm ready. Bob says, Tim Kennedy is a liar. I don't know Tim Kennedy. Is that one of the Kennedys? I mean, clearly he's one of the Kennedys, but yeah, I don't know Tim. Rick Roberts, Jack, what 5 places would you like to visit and document paranormal findings? Oh well, man, Sedona would be a really good one. I've always wanted to visit the portal at Sedona and Mount Shasta. I want to go to East Seti. I really want to go to Peru. There's some shady crap going down in Peru, but that's the heart of ayahuasca. That's where ayahuasca comes from. That has changed my life, and and many others as well. So I would love to go to the home of ayahuasca. And as far as number 5, oh goodness. Um, I mean, I'll kind of like to leave number 5 open because there's so many other cool places. Like, I mean, the Great Pyramids, right? Wouldn't you want to go to the Great Pyramids? But then you hear about people having transcendent experiences in the Temple of Hathor. I probably maybe I just put Egypt down. Can I cheat and put Egypt down and just like make a tour? I really want to make a tour with Stefano. Why am I blank on names sometimes when I get on the live stream? I'm a huge fanboy of Stefano. Ah, gosh, driving me crazy. Driving me crazy. Tell me who I'm talking about. Matthias Stefano. Yeah, Matthias. Love Matthias. Yeah, I want to. He did that tour of Egypt with like Aubrey Marcus and other people, and people were having amazing experiences going to the temples, during this activation ceremony in the pyramid. People, he summoned rain. And at the Great Pyramid, he did a rain ceremony, and he summoned freaking rain. I mean, Matthias is yeah, he's the legit. I would have loved to have gone on that tour of Egypt with Matthias DeStefano. So hopefully he'll do that again and I'll be invited. Hank says, Jack, when you get Michael Herrera, you're going to sell out all your seats. Hey, I love it. I love it. I hope so. I hope so. Let's see. Tim Kennedy would have been seen on Hunting Hitler. He is an Army Ranger and an MMA fighter popular in the veteran community. Tim Kennedy is a beast. He is a U.S. Army Ranger who would be excellent to send down to Peru. I say this, I am a combat vet too because he has jungle warfare training and could get answers. Okay, I'm going to have Tim Kennedy. I mean, that's ringing a dim bell. I mean, I could just like Google Tim Kennedy. I'm Googling stuff live. Okay. Because that's ringing like a dim bell. So let me refresh my memory. Who's Tim Kennedy? Tim Kennedy. Tim Fred Kennedy is an American soldier and retired mixed martial artist, a professional from 2001 to 2016. Okay, active special forces master sergeant and sniper. Why are we talking about Tim Kennedy? I mean, he sounds like a badass, but I don't know why is he into UFOs? I missed something. I missed something with Tim Kennedy, guys. Missed something with Tim Kennedy. Jake says, I am starting to feel that we are in a projected simulated universe. Yeah, I don't go for the simulation theory as such. I go for more of the, spiritual simulation that this universe was created by higher beings or us or somebody, and that, we came into this reality for some reason. People argue about what that reason is, life lessons, shaping our soul, whatever. I don't know. I don't know. But, that's kind of where my mind goes. But I think there's dimensions and densities and alternate timelines and realities. And I think it's all pretty trippy. But that's just my take on it. I'd love to hear your take. If y'all think that's all crazy nonsense, let me know. Kill Dragon says some aliens and UFOs sometimes appear and behave apparitional in nature. Yeah, it's hard to separate UFOs and the paranormal because they are so closely connected often. But it's also, the closer, what's the quote? Advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. So, what is what? Because there is some magic, there is some metaphysics and other dimensionality. I can't say that word involved, but some of it is probably just super fancy tech. And what is what? I think that's a great question. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is, but it's a great question. Astro says, my encounter was in Redding, California as a child, right near Mount Shasta. Oh, cool. Thank you for sharing that, Astro. That's awesome. I'd love to know more about your encounter. Bernie says, have you heard of the Bosnian pyramids? Any thoughts? Bosnian pyramids. Okay. All right. Bosnian pyramids. I love pyramids. Bosnian pyramids. I got. Oh yeah, that one. Yeah, yeah, that one. The big one that's covered in grass. Yeah, Wikipedia says the claims are pseudo archaeological theories put forward to explain the formation of a cluster of natural hills. I mean, is that I'm looking at the picture of it right now? Is that a natural hill? It certainly looks like a giant pyramid to me. But I mean, obviously we need somebody to dig it up and to see if there's something under there. I'm not going to say that it's for sure a pyramid because there are weird structures that look like stuff that are just natural structures. But man, that sure does look like a pyramid, doesn't it? It really does. Really does. But yeah, we need somebody to dig it up. Uh, hey, watching vids, my boy Jack live. Peru. Hank says Peru has been a mecca for all kinds of. Yeah, Peru is this weird mecca. Hank, you're absolutely right. What is going on in Peru? That's crazy. That's crazy that there's so much stuff going on in Peru and has for a long time. Is it something to do with the, is there a element there or a, mineral source there or some more esoteric thing there or what's going on in Peru? Any theories on what the draw is with Peru, good and bad? And Ralph says, is that CIA John Ramirez? I don't think so. I've never met John in the flesh, but John, you tell me. You tell us. Mr. Legendary says, fair enough. Ralph Ellis. Was that? Yeah. I'd be miss some more stuff. Brett says, by the way, the intro, outro of Cosmic Road slaps. Well, thank you. Thank you very much. I like to slap. That sounded wrong. Don't click the channel says two things are guaranteed. The government is hiding something massive and they're using our money to do it. 100%. 100%. Didier Von Den Dale says in 2024, Timberjet play poker with an extra dimensional non-human in the skiff. I want to be a fly on that wall. Tim Burchett playing poker with a being. That'd be awesome. What do you think of the ex-FBI agent John D'Souza, who was in Missing 411 UFO Connection docu? I liked him until I realized he's a big Project Bluebeam guy. Yeah, I have mixed thoughts about John D'Souza. I like him too. I don't know about some of his information and beliefs. So, you got to use your own discernment. What is the good information he's bringing out and what is the not as good. So, but it's like with a lot of these guys. I mean, a lot of these guys have information that's really good, but maybe they've been given some disinformation as well, and that's blended in with them with the good information, or maybe their own beliefs or prejudices are disposing them to a certain way, and so they interpret their information in a certain way. So I don't know about D'Souza, but I think that he's, I don't think he's a bad guy. I think he's just telling his truth, just not my truth. So, that's my take on D'Souza. Let's see. Leviathan says all the stuff is buried as if there was a large flood that deposited sediment. Okay. Are we getting into the mud flood? I see the dot after that. Yeah, the mud flood theory is interesting. Uh, I I don't I don't. Tanasha says help the UFO community in India. How can I help the UFO community in India? I but go India. I have my own connection to India, or at least Hinduism. Hindus, they knew some stuff, and I've experienced some of that stuff that they knew. Good stuff. Good stuff. Yeah. So yeah, India's got some secrets, man. It really does. It really does. So yeah, I love India. I'm fascinated by India and what they were tapping into, and may still be tapping into. Yeah. So yeah, hopefully someday I'll get to go there. Leviathan says, I'm just starting to see the stuff, ancient astronaut type art and so on. Yeah, Leviathan says that's how you help India by talking about it. Yeah, well, India's tapped in, guys. I mean, the ancient Hindus, I mean, they mapped a lot of this stuff out. I mean, I don't know, it's probably like a lot else of channeled information where, some of it is, our own minds putting an interpretation on it. But a lot of that, I'm sure, is, I mean, I know for a fact that some of it is real. I mean, I had a Kundalini awakening. I mean, and I don't say that in a general sense of the word. Some people use that term to define any enlightenment modality, or any, awareness event they had. And I honor all of those events. But that's not what I had. I had a textbook Hindu Kundalini awakening. And I'm not a Hindu, and I haven't studied Hinduism. I knew what a Kundalini awakening was, and I had a general aspiration to have one day. And then whatever has been working with me for the last few years, and that seems to have slowed down since I stopped meditating and going to Reiki, granted me this amazing experience just out of the blue. And just like being hit like by lightning. It was just full body amazingness. I mean, for 5 hours, seizures and pulsing up the spine. I know seizures don't sound great, but trust me, it was amazing. It was amazing. So well, let's see. I've got about another 10 minutes, guys. So if you could get all your questions in the next 10 minutes, that would be awesome. I'm going to try to get to everybody, or as many as I can. Yes, if you can make a stiff balloon. I missed what y'all are talking about. Jake from State Farm says, I think Lou and a couple others mentioned India belief system being more in tune with what's going on. Oh, that's very interesting. Well, I missed that quote about from Lou about that. Yeah, but absolutely, the Hindus knew some stuff. 100%, 100%, they knew some stuff and know some stuff. So yeah, now I would love to study under one of those guys. DNF Jeff. Oh, hey, DNF Jeff. How's it going, man? Says, I was just thinking, what if Kirkpatrick was pulling a switcheroo and using orders to lie as a Streisand effect, acting like he's trying to hide something to get more attention? Okay, I like that theory. I like that theory. Okay. No, I love that. Okay, DNF Jeff. So the theory would be that Sean Kirkpatrick is saying, don't look over there. There's nothing to see there. So that we all look over there. I love it. I love it. I mean, I don't think that's what's going on, but it's a great theory. And, stuff like that could be happening because, these guys, they do think in terms of the bigger picture. They've got all this mapped out and planned out, contingencies upon contingencies. And, yeah. So totally possible, Jeff. Totally possible. Gann says, Jack, will we ever learn more regarding Virginia? Absolutely. There's a 2 or 3 whistleblowers about the Virginia incident that are supposed to come out this year. People that were actually interacting with one of the bodies. possibly doctors, possibly the two doctors, and possibly the pilot that transported at least one of the bodies. So, isn't that incredible? Isn't that incredible? I love it. Keeper says, "Why did you stop meditating?" Because I'm an idiot. Keeper, I'm just mentally lazy, and I shouldn't have done that. And I'm going to start again. I'm going to start again. And I haven't 100% given up meditation. I was going to a weekly meditation group, but that just ended because the organizer has some other commitments now. He's actually doing meditation professionally, and he's got clients that come to him for meditation. But he's a buddy, and we're not doing that anymore. Yeah, I still do Reiki. I've got a Reiki share at my house this coming weekend, so I'm not completely out of it, and I still go to ayahuasca retreats, and it's not like I've given up pursuit of the spiritual, but I need to get back into meditation. I 100%, and I'm going to do that. That's my New Year's resolution. Josh says Neil deGrasse Tyson is the fake news team. What a wanker. pretty, pretty much. Gloaming says Kirkpatrick seems such an obvious heel. He triggers my suspicion about the whole drama between him and the Mellons camp. Feels like theater. A lot of people think that. A lot of people think it's all theater and this is all scripted. To me, it's not a good script, guys. It's not a good script. It seems like it's too random, but I mean, maybe they're clever enough to make it seem random, right? That would be the argument. So, it could be good cop and bad cop, right? But it's all part of the same system. Totally. And I've actually talked about the possibility of the phenomenon acting that way as well. Playing, you got the beatific Nordic beings that people are having enlightened experiences with. Then you've got the evil reptilians, and maybe the Greys are somewhere in the middle, but could that be a good cop, bad cop situation? Or are they authentically that way? I don't have an answer to that. I think that Chris is a pro-disclosure guy and Sean Kirkpatrick is not. That's my take on it, but I respect all takes. Keeper says, for me, it's almost like it feels too busy and draining suddenly. Where it felt fluid and comfortable, it now feels really drawn out and hard to concentrate. Okay. Well, that's not good. Well, don't. That doesn't sound good. Just I don't know. Are you talking about the UFO topic? Or are you talking about something more spiritual, like the atmosphere at the moment, or they can both be connected? So, yeah, okay. If you could let me know a little bit more in the time that we have left, we only have a few more minutes left. Tony says, Jack, do you work with your guides or higher beings when you're working Reiki? I just channel the energy, but I do know some of my buddies that actually consciously invoke beings to help them do that, or to assist in the healing. And I think I'm going to start doing that. When Bonnie, my Reiki instructor, did Reiki on me about a week ago, she said a being came through, and she sees beings all the time, but it was the first time a being had come through to work on me that she was consciously aware of. So that was really interesting. So yeah, so beings can come through, and he was assisting in the healings. So I didn't notice a change, but maybe there was a change on some other level. I don't know. But a good idea. I don't work with, I need to get more disciplined and organized about my spiritual practice. And that's my goal for this year. That is my ambition. So Leviathan says, yes, same. I do hemisync daily and have noticed fewer interactions. Okay. So, that's interesting. So you decreased interactions with hemisync. I was hoping for greater, cause I've played with hemisync as well. And, so you've noticed decreased interactions. That's interesting. I wonder what that's about. Theoretically, it should be more interactions, greater connection with Hemisync. Watching Vid says, "Hey Jack, I haven't been around for a while, for about a week, but I briefly skimmed over some that UFO whistleblower that everyone hates is going to be outed as a disinfo agent. The UFO whistleblower that everybody hates. What? I don't know. I don't know a UFO whistleblower that everybody hates. Who is that? I'm not. Are you talking about Greer? Are you talking about? Could he be a? I wouldn't call him a whistleblower, but he's brought forth some great whistleblowers. But yeah, let me know which one you're talking about. Watching vids. Let's see. Contigo, great job. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. No Westing in the chat, please. Appreciate it. Leviathan says it's a new phenomenon to decrease. Others are feeling it. Contigo, get some guests on. Yeah, okay. So that's the thing. Now that I've got StreamYards, I can bring some guests on and to a live chat. I haven't figured out how to do that, but that ability is here. I just have to work on it. Part of the reason I did this live stream was to play with StreamYards and to get it to see if I could get it to work. And it's not working as well as I wanted it to. I couldn't share the audio from some videos, so I'm still gonna have to play with it and maybe read some tutorials. I watched the tutorial, but clearly it wasn't enough. Anyway, I've got to go, guys, but y'all have been awesome and I love it. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. And, I'll see you again soon. I've got a video coming up at 5 Central talking about the DoD report. It's not a super exciting report, and I've already talked about it, but it is what it is. It is definitely the big story of the day, or actually it dropped yesterday. 13 Paul, do you ever get skeptical and think it all could be fantasy and there are no aliens? No, I mean, I've had my own encounter, so no, it's they're there. What they are, I don't know, but they're there. But we're gonna figure it out together, guys. Okay, guys, love you guys, and I will see you guys next time.